Scrappin with Sheri. On the last video I did, I completed page 12 in our sketchbook. Remember, we're working through this 101 sketchbook. And I completed page 12, and this is what it looks like. But I have the next page to do, and I thought I would use sketch 13 to do that, to make a complementary page to this one. So when I'm looking at this, here again, it has an outside edge with a smaller piece inside. So I'm going to pick up the same color scheme to kind of make this work together in some ways. Some things I'm going to change up, but I wanted to kind of give you a reminder of what this one looks like before we start page 13. Now these are a continuation of the same pictures, so that makes it easy enough to do. Now this sketch has us cutting our pictures down to 3 3/8 by, or 3 7/8 by 4-inch photos. My photos I've already cropped, but they would not crop that small. So my look is going to be a little bit different. And I'm also using 4 photos instead of 3 on this. But as I did on the first one, I've chosen this totally tonal beige for my background. I'm going to go back with this brown because it makes such a good contrast with that. I had a lighter color picked out to be this background area, and I just didn't like it. There wasn't enough contrast between the two. So that is going to be the main base here, the inner base. So let's just go ahead and cut that so we'll know where we're headed. And that is, let's see how big that one is. 11 by 5.5 is that base part right there. So I need to cut this brown at 11 by 5.5. Now, remember your 5.5 is pretty much right on the edge of your trimmer there. So I've got my 5.5. And then I'm going to turn my paper, pull out the arm, and go to 11 here. Now, it looks like it's one whole giant piece under there. But if you do that as one giant piece, I mean, I could do this as an 11 by 11 all the way around. But then I'm going to waste so much in the middle. So I do like the way this sketch has laid that out for us. And that's going to go about right there. Then we have a contrasting color through the center, and it's 12 by 4 1/4. And I decided to pull out my blue again for that, just to bring some blue from the other side. And because she's got the little blue feathers in her headdress, I felt like the blue would be a nice pop of color here. So I'm going, whoop, I almost cut that without thinking. Y'all, that is a 4 1/4 because it matched their photos. Remember, I cut my photos a little bit taller. Whew, glad I caught that. I've been wrecking this blue paper that I love. So my photos are larger than that, and I'm eyeballing here. So, you know, this is not an exact measurement, but I'm just making it a little bit bigger than my photos that I've already cut. And it is a 12-inch length, so we're leaving that a full 12-inch length. Now, that doesn't give me a lot of extra room here because on the sketch, there's a little jaggedy border here, then another little piece here. But let's see how we can make that work for us. I did have one photo that I was thinking I would sit right up here. So we're going there with that. But then we do have this little border piece, and I really like that. And I think I want to go back and just cut that out of some, maybe just another little piece of that brown. I've got a scrap of that. And it's an 11-inch wide. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut that 11 inches. This was a piece I had left over from the first page, and I just left it laying to the side. And I think what I'll do to create that jaggedy edge, just to have something a little different, is to use my decal blade. Now let me find the decal. Oh, by the way, some of you have asked questions about what if you can't get your blades out? What if you don't have enough hand strength, you have arthritis, different things, and it's hard for you to get your blades out? I saw this trick in one of the meetings I went to, where they put their blades in that way. And even if you don't have a lot of hand strength, let me grab something and I'll show you what you can do to make this work for you. So here's our multi-purpose tool. If you have your blades in that way, that gives you some space there, and you can use your multi-purpose tool to pop that out. So I'm turning my blade backwards. It will still pop in so it won't move, but then all you got to do is wedge it with your multi-purpose tool and it pops right out. I tried to explain that just in a comment, but I think for some of you that might be helpful to be able to see that happen. I hope that helps you. As I get a little bit older, I'm starting to have some issues with my shoulder, and I think it's just the repetitive motion of scrapbooking for 27 years. So I sympathize with your pain, and I hope that will help you be able to scrapbook a little more easily. Now I'm just using the decal on there. And then we're going to go ahead and just put this page together and see where we are, see what we need to add. I've got this piece and this piece that are cut at 11 inches. I'm going to go ahead and stick this one. And I am going pretty close to the top. I'm kind of trying to keep my border edges somewhat the same. They may be a little bit different because I just don't have a whole ton of room top to bottom because I made my photos larger. And I'm fine with that. I would much rather have the larger photos to show things off better rather than cut them down just to fit the sketch. And I know you see it over and over in the wording, but make the sketches work for you. They are a starting place. They're to spark your creativity. They're not a be-all, end-all, do-all. And I think that is a little bit crooked here. I'm just going to use this piece of paper to see if I've got them lined up at all. Well, it's actually pretty close. We'll go with it, huh? And I'm going to go ahead and get my blue ready to tape down. But I'm going to make sure that I've got room for this little photo in here. Now, one thing I'm not liking here is that this photo really fades into that brown. It just kind of gets lost. So I was going to see if I have, I had this scrap left from the last layout. I think I'll just add that behind her. It's not going to mat the whole picture, and I am going to have to cut down the picture just a touch. Oh, I just cut it with my decal blade. How about that? Let's go back with a straight blade. Do you ever do that? Do you forget to change out your blades and cut something? Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. All right, so I'm going to sit her right in that. I do like that contrast so much better. It really makes her pop a lot more than against the brown. And you can see I haven't matted all the way to the bottom because I'm going to cover part of that anyway. And I just happen to have this size laying right here from the last page we did. Here again, I'm trying to even out my spacing, top and side. And then we can put that blue piece on. And I'm going to put this right up to the edge of my yellow mat. Now, here again, y'all, you know, you can do all this matting and measuring and everything else. And I can't give you exact measurements on this because I am using a lot of scraps. And that's what we like to do, isn't it? We like to use up pieces and parts. So I'm pretty happy with that. I feel like this edge is just a little bit longer here. So maybe I want to hike that up just a shade. And I'm going edge to edge on the sides. Remember, this one was a 12-inch width, whereas the other pieces were cut to 11. She was playing with the little beads on the dress. She thought that was very interesting. Very concentrating there. And I'm just going to line these up. Now, this picture, when I laid them out initially, I had this picture way over here. But because she is facing in so much, I feel like this picture needs to go on this side of the page to face in towards the center of the page. And to get my spacing exactly right, I probably should have put the two outside edges down first. You can see these pictures are pretty much the same, but I probably should have put my outside edges down first and then centered that middle one between the two. Sometimes I get really lucky and the spacing works out really well. And this seems to be one of those cases. All right, so back to our sketch. Remember, we haven't done it exactly like theirs. Now, they've got a little journaling box going top and bottom here. They had a title block here, whereas I added a photo. But let me look through my journaling boxes and see if I've got something that would fit that space. I also love this little tag right here. And I'm over here looking at all my scraps, and I'm thinking a little tag using this plaid to draw it across from the other side of the page would be really pretty. So let me look through my journaling boxes and see what we can do next. So in going back through my Autumn Harvest collection, I found this journaling box. Now originally I thought, okay, we'll keep it like theirs and go up and down here. But because I didn't use this big wide picture here or title block, I think this look is going to be better. Now what they've done is they've slid it way down, so you've got a lot of extra space here. I don't necessarily need that extra space. So I think I'm going to set my journaling box right on top of this blue stripe. That gives me a lot of equal spacing all the way around, and I like the look of that. I don't have tons to say, and what does this stump and mushrooms have to do with anything? Not really a lot, except the colors are great. This is an outdoor picture where you can see the trees, but look at the little mushrooms here and how well they pick up the reds that I've got in the pictures. So I feel like that's a good option here. And then we are going to make this a little tag to go down here. I don't have a journaling piece hanging down below here. I don't really need that, so I'm fine with not having one. I could actually go with this scrap that's a little bit bigger and do a larger kind of tag here. But I think that little bit of plaid is going to be just enough. So let me get my scissors and make that into a tag. Now, to do that with my scissors, I'm just going to make a little snip right in the middle and then cut from the corner to that snip in the center. It is looking a little funky because I've got some burgundy showing right there. It looks like I didn't quite cut all the way to the corner, but I really did. And then I'm just going to stick that little tag right down there. Just gives us a little bit of hint of color. Plus, remember, we are kind of coordinating this with the facing page. So let me pull back out that facing page. We'll look at our sketch one more time. We've got all the main elements. The only thing I didn't have is a title. I didn't really feel like it needs that because I'll explain what's going on in the journaling area. But let's look at the coordination between the two pages. So we use the same backgrounds. We use the brown here and the brown here from Welcome Home. We've pulled out the blue here, and then we've got the wide swath of blue here. And then we brought back our plaid that we had there. So we've brought in a lot of the elements. We've got a little bit of yellow here. The only thing I'm seeing that we don't have at all is just this little bitty strip of orange here, which I'm fine with, and then a strip of orange here. There again, I'm fine with that. I don't feel like we necessarily have to have those things. So this, page 12 and page 13, have now become a 2-page spread. I hope you enjoyed this. I'll go ahead and journal this, and then you'll see the completed page in the pictures. But how fun is that to use 2 different sketches and make a double-page spread? I think it works pretty well, and I like the fact that we have tied them together with the colors, the patterns, the main elements of the 2 pages. So, until next time, happy scrapping!